Yes, yes, yes. Big up, Wagwan. We are deal with we are Depan up top blessings. And we're there back again with another one. This time we're here to break down the Manchester Derby. Will be taking place tomorrow, and we do have a couple guests in the building. And at the moment, not exactly a debut, but a recurring guest. We have Martin from the Mancunian Way. Martin, what you say to me?
Evening, afternoon. How are you, mate? Good to be on.
Doing good myself, and think you'll get this from most of what I'll be saying later. But I'm feeling good for tomorrow. I can't lie. A lot of positive vibes, and you'll definitely get into it. But before we do kick off, let me just run through some of these comments really quickly, and then I want to get your thoughts on a couple of stuff. So, MCFC Connect first in the building. Big up to you. We'll be doing a stream later as well. We'll be here on the channel. So, guys, please be here for that. I think that will be around 11 p.m. UK time. So, if you guys can make it, do hope to see you guys over there. 100%. Also, Ethan, FPL player, biggest Scott Carson stan you'll find around. Don't worry. You'll get your Carson thumbnail soon. Promise you that. You'll definitely get that real soon. Um, Let's see. Some love for Martin in the chat as well. And MCFC Connect, Veta's channel is in the link, in the title, as well as linked in the description. So definitely check out his content if you're not familiar. Trust me, definitely quality content all around from both of the panel members we have here today. Alec Johnson also tuning in, saying hello all. Big up to you as usual, Alec. He also says referee is his only worry and VAR. We'll get into it. It definitely has to be a talking point. We will definitely get there. And also bigging up Martin as he's coming in. And yeah, let's get into the chat then, if you don't mind, Martin. So
No, off you go, mate.
I wanted to talk about the two team season so far. How do you feel about City's season so far? Because I haven't heard your thoughts in regards to that as yet.
I'm honestly happy with it. I know there's a lot of people think we've had this bad start, really poor start. 7 wins out of 9 isn't a bad start. I think having 2 defeats on the bounce made it look like a bad start, but it really wasn't. It really wasn't. I don't even think we played bad at Arsenal. Just think when we went to Arsenal with a very different game plan, which was very unlike Pep. But I've said this 1,000 times. We use August till about December, January as pre-season, and then once we get to like the qualifying stage of the Champions League in February, that's when our season begins fully. That's when we go to fourth gear, fifth gear, and we ramp up from there. I honestly, I don't understand this mentality of it's a poor start. We're not going to win every single game. That is just impossible. So 7 wins out of 9 is not a bad start. It really isn't. It's actually technically one of our better starts to the season over the last few years.
If you actually look at it,
So
we did six in a row once before under Pep, and that was his first season. Obviously, that wasn't the best season he has had at the club, but still, it's an exceptional start to have. And if you compare it to how we usually start other seasons and what we've gone on to do then, this deep into the Pep Guardiola era, this start that we had could be the beginning of something amazing at the end of the season. Maybe not at the levels of what we had last season, but you never know. You never know what we could go on and do this season. I do agree with you that so far this season, I think we have had a good start. I rated it 8 out of 10. I think just before the international break, that was my, or during the international break, that was what I gave it as a general rating. Um, Certain games, you look at the Wolves games. I think why it looks that Arsenal game specifically, why it looks so bad is based on the expectation that a lot of people were going into that game with, and what they were expecting us to do in terms of dominating and creating an abundance of chances, putting the game to bed from early. You know, we've had a magnificent record against Arsenal, so going up and stepping up like we did, I think that just gave a lot of fans a big negative feeling that we played a lot worse than we actually did. So, and I think in the Wolves game, we had a lot of good moments, but that was overshadowed by mistakes that we did and the right moments and good chances that Wolves were able to create. So, I think it's a bit of revisionism, and taking a step back, you can actually see it's really not as bad as a lot of people make it out to be, like a crisis. But um,
No, I think that's just expectation going overboard. Unfortunately, I see it now. We're 0-0 in games at half time of some fans are having a meltdown. I suppose it just comes with the territory of being treble winners. But a treble is something that should be looked upon as so special. And I think when you're expecting trebles and quads every season, I do honestly think I think some fans are taking away the achievement of last season. Last season was a remarkable achievement to hit the treble. It had not been done in nearly 25 years. It had never been done in.
this
And
might
some fans are talking like it should be done every year in, year out. I don't know. Maybe it's me.
no, I get this. I get the complete same sentiment. This might be a bit of a weird comparison, but I like to compare winning a treble with like a unicorn. Hear me out. A unicorn isn't something you go outside and expect to see. Like, oh, it's like a stray dog or a stray cat on the road. It's not that common. You see that, it's like, wow, this is amazing. I didn't even, I knew this probably existed, maybe not, but this is absolutely crazy. So moving from that to, okay, now we've seen one. I expect to see one every year or every other day now. It doesn't work like that. It really, really
Yeah,
doesn't.
of
But
course it does. And it takes away the achievement of those lads last season.
hundred
It
percent,
really does. Like I said, we went, from after the Forest game, we went on our run
yeah,
and we were beating teams. And the thing is, we're still breaking records this season. How many games are we unbeaten at home now? That's carried on from last season. So I think fans have got to, some fans, whether they're not going to like this, but some fans have to put their PS and Xbox controllers down and
mm.
get in the real world. It is not FIFA, it is not FC 24. They need to realise it isn't that easy.
So
I
they
wish it was.
they give me a bad rep because I'm now scared to tell people I play FIFA because they're just gonna assume my ball knowledge is down in the dumps, like what you see on Twitter most of the time. I have to keep that a secret nowadays. But I do want to
Twitter's
get
a
your thought.
cesspool.
Oh
Twitter's a
yeah,
cesspool.
I don't take it too seriously. I read some stuff, and sometimes by the third post I'm like, yeah, I'm closing this. I'm going back to Instagram. But I do want to get your thoughts on what you think of United's season so far. I know there's a lot of mixed messages or mixed readings or interpretations that people have from what they've been going on with. But what have you been seeing over there? Like, are you seeing a big threat coming into the game tomorrow?
Um, they had a bad start. They're currently, I think they're on 3 wins on the bounce in all comps. Yeah, probably not the most straightforward wins, probably not the best performance in wins, but what they are building now, they're building that little bit of confidence. When you can go 3 games on the bounce and win, of course you're going to get confidence from that. A lot of
Yeah,
people I speak to locally here, they do fancy their chances tomorrow against us because they've got this. They think they've got a little bit of momentum building,
yeah,
and it's a derby.
right.
United. Have they surprised me? No, they really haven't. Because I mean, I was talking about this on Thursday night with some United fans, um, big United fans, and they were like, some of them don't understand the Eric Ten Hag out. Some are a bit, because for me, the last thing they need is to sack another manager.
Mm.
They don't need to sack another manager right now because A, they're running out of managers to actually appoint, and B, what would that get them? Just takes them all the way back to the drawing board to start all over again. This,
Yeah.
but this comes with the expectation. United fans have got this expectation that they should be challenging for the title year in, year out. And then what happens is when you finish fifth and sixth, it becomes a crisis. And that's what I try and not install in City fans because I'm just a fan. I'm
Right.
not trying to educate or dictate to anyone. But
Not
fifth and
gatekeepers.
sixth,
Yeah.
yeah, fifth and sixth is not a crisis. Being in Division 2 and 14th in it is a crisis.
Yeah,
Not being fifth and
I
sixth
was
in the
gonna say
Premier
fifth
League is
and
a
sixth in
crisis.
Division Two. Maybe. Maybe there,
Yeah,
yeah.
fifth and sixth is not a crisis. But because United, someone said to me on Thursday night in the studio was at, and they went, but we are Man United. I went, and what does that mean? Well, we should be top. Who said? Who said you should be top? It's our name. It's everything about us. No, no one has a divine right to be top
Yep.
of any league. You've got to earn your right to be there. And the trouble is, United fans aren't willing to change their mentality around. And until they change their way of thinking, they won't be good again because they need to go back to the drawing board, be patient, and start again. But they're not willing to do it because they are Man United.
That's one thing I always talk about. That mentality that they have, like it's in the name. Because we are Man United or United as they always say, we're automatically supposed to be at the top. And I see that a lot, or maybe not nowadays, but growing up, I've seen the same exact thing with Chelsea fans. And that's why I don't particularly take kind to either of these fan bases. And one thing I do take a lot of pride in, and this is something I've learned from older fans like you, from older fans like Big Steve, listening to you guys. We're a club that's coming from humble beginnings. So we have to stay grounded even through the success because we know where we're coming from, and that's why our journey is so magnificent because of where we started and where we are now. So that's definitely something that we do have to keep in mind as we do go along. I do have some stats here prepared in regards to the derby, some all-time stats. This is the 191st meeting of the two teams. The current record sits at 53 wins for Manchester City and 78 wins for Manchester United, 53 draws. The largest scoring game happened last season at the Etihad, where we had the 6-3 win over them. The largest derby victories all happened at OT, or United's ground, I should say. Yeah, I think they were at OT for all of these games actually. Um, we had 6-1 City win at OT in 1926, 5-0 City win in 1955, 5-0 United win in 1994, and 6-1 City win in 2011, which that's the only one I'm fully familiar with. But Martin, how are you liking those big victories? What are you thinking about that?
Oh, I mean, some of the victories we've had have been amazing there. Um, Fortunately, I was at the Swamp when we also have been on the other side of those good tidings as well. Anyone remembers? Alec Johnson will remember the Andre
Yep.
Kanchelskis game where he just decided to run riot on us one night and bag himself an hat trick. And United even brought out a video called Demolition Derby for it. It was quite fun. We had a backup goalie called Simon Tracy in net that night.
Mm,
I think there's Tony Colton and Dibble. There was a few injuries, and we ended up with Simon Tracy, and we just got battered from pillar to post from Mark Hughes and Konchelskis. But like I said, I've also been there. I've had some great times there when we got beat in the FA Cup when Uwe Rosler scored, was lobbing Schmeichel, and there was like 7,000 of us behind the goal going wild.
yeah.
And then who can forget the 6-1? But we have won there before the takeover. I know that's madness to think to some people, but we have won there before the takeover and in recent times under Sven-Goran Eriksson, Benjani bagging himself the winner. So that's the thing with the derby. Form goes out the window. It's about who wants it on the day. And tomorrow, I mean, obviously we'll get into it, but
Yeah.
you know, I've had some good times. I've had a lot more worse times at the Swamp than I've had good times. I won't lie. I wasn't around for when Dennis Law relegated them there,
Oh
but
my
I've
God,
been
that was
told by my
absolutely
dad
crazy.
when Dennis Law relegated him with his back heel and wouldn't celebrate because he knew what he'd done. Yeah, so there has been some iconic, the Ian Brightwell Thunderbolt, at the Swamp. So we've had some great times. We've had a lot of sad times, but it's different now because I think United fans look at the derby the way City fans looked at it 25 years ago. We went there with more hope than we did expectation, and I think the roles have now reversed. I think United look in these derbies more for hope than they do realisation. I think we go there now thinking we're going to beat them.
Yep, there's definitely a lot more confidence from our end going into this fixture. I would assume that majority of the confidence would be when we're playing them at home. So that's when most of the fans would be thinking, yeah, we have a right chance right here. Even in the times where they were far and away the better team on paper. But yeah,
Saying that,
nowadays.
Clinical, sorry to jump in, I
Hmm?
think we've done better at the Swamp in the last 10 years than we have at the Etihad. United seem to get more joy at the Etihad than they do at their own place against us recently.
I think if you look at Ole's record, he actually has a
Mm.
much better record at the Etihad than at OT coming up against us. So yeah, that I have seen that and noticed that as well. But let's start the last time we actually faced this team. That was just a few months ago. I don't fully remember if you said you were at that game at the FA Cup final. Obviously, Silky Ilkay put us up ahead in 14, 15 seconds, and we went on to win that game 2-1. How do you think that getting that win over them, having that most recent victory, helps us tomorrow mentally?
I don't think it plays any part, if I'm totally honest. I think it was a different part to the season. It was May. We had the momentum. They and I think both teams have changed.
Mm-hmm.
At the time, Gundogan was the essential player for us in the midfield. He's no longer there anymore. But we are now sort of developing a sort of new style of playing as well,
Yeah.
which Pep likes to do. He does like to tinker with the way that we sort of play. We don't ever stick to one formation season in, season out. I don't even think we stick to a formation for a full season. If I'm totally honest with you, I think we even tinker it mid-season. But I mean, it was nice last season. It should mentally for the fans. I think it plays a part. For the fans, it plays a massive part because they could have stopped us on our treble journey,
Right.
and they didn't. They couldn't do it. But obviously, they had De Gea then. We had Gundogan. Things have changed now. But I think that game at Wembley will mean more for the fans than it will for the players and the managers for tomorrow's game.
No, I completely get what you're saying. Let me bring in the General Veta Games into the building. He's actually
Is
making
he
his
actually here?
debut
Is he here?
debut on the channel as
What's
we
going on? What's going on? Clinical. I don't know what it is, man. I hear Martin, but I don't hear you right now.
really. Martin, you're hearing me fine, right?
That's so weird.
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
I'm
It's
a,
nice to see Veta. Veta has actually been missing in action for the last 6 months.
I've been missing. I've been missing. I'm gonna drop and come right back. I'm gonna drop and come right
See, he's off already. He's got a
back.
flying
I need
visit
to
and he's
hear. I
gone.
need to hear the host. I need to hear Clinical, my guy. All right, let me be right back.
Well, while Veta Games coming back, let me tell you what I think. I get your point in regards to it being a different part of the season. That's completely relevant, but I think that mental edge that we have over some of those players, knowing that, yeah, Ten Hag is hyping them up, telling them this is your chance to defend the history of the club. Don't let these guys take that bit of history over you. This is a pride matter more so than just football. Like, go out there and be men and all that stuff, whatever he's probably telling them. And then for them to get beat and dominated in the game, how they were, I do think that that might play on some of those players. Yeah, both of us are different teams at the moment, but players like Bruno Fernandes, who was there, players like Rashford, who would have played in that game, um, Casemiro as well, a couple other players I could mention. They might be thinking, compared to then, how much better are we now, or more confident can we be in terms of beating that team? So I do think that that's somewhat they'll be backing themselves of saying, you know what, this is a derby day. Form goes out the window. We're at home. We can't be feeling sorry for ourselves. We need to really rally together and do whatever we can to get a result in this particular game. But I'm at least hoping that it plays on their head to where we can actually beat them in the tunnel, or have them 10-15% beat in the tunnel before we get out on the pitch. But Vater is back in. Let me bring him in, and yeah, proper intro, my general, Veta Games. Slowly coming in back. Hopefully the recovery is still going well. Veta, what you said to me?
Good to go. Yeah. Yo,
All
Clinical,
right,
thanks
all
for having me,
right.
man. Thanks for having me. Technical difficulties. I haven't been in the mix the way I should. My setup's all jacked up. Even my lighting, I can see that it's a little weird on the side. But listen, I had to be back. I had to be back for your show, the Derby. I'm gonna do some content with Martin as well. Let's get into it, man. Big things. Support this channel, like it, share it. Clinical, man, my guy.
100%, and no pressure, but I'm expecting a debut hat trick from you. Just saying. Um, let me. I don't want to put you on the spot, but while we're on the topic, before we move on, do you think the last meeting between the two teams, the FA Cup final, do you think that plays a part in any way in terms of how both teams come into this game and prepare?
Because the FA Cup was so far away, I don't know. I don't know if it'll play a part because I think we've changed so much from that game. So much was on the line in terms of it was for a trophy. You know what I mean? So I think Ten Hag's approach is going to be very similar, though. I don't think he's going to make life easy for us in the sense that it's going to be we're both going to go to play football. I think for him, he's going to do what he's been doing and be really conservative. If I'm going to look at anything, I'm going to look at the last two games United played, and it's pretty much been the same 11. Pep, I think, and I think Martin was probably excited about this. Pep rested some players in that Champions League game, so I think Pep's ready to like go all out and not to spoil anything, not to get ahead of ourselves. But I'm still angry from our 2-1 loss to them. That controversial, crap, ridiculous call or no non-call on that offsides. I'm still fuming. I'm still fuming about it. So I want us to damage them on Sunday.
Trust me, I completely share that sentiment, but more or less agreeing with what Martin was saying, and I do respect that point. Maybe I'm thinking about it a bit wrong, but I'm at least hoping that it does. They do remember that, you know what? this isn't a team that they have a lot of luxury in terms of beating. For example, us coming up against Spurs, they might come into that game regardless of whatever their form is, knowing that, recent years they've had really good results over us. And
Yeah.
that might play on their mind, even if we're the ones in good form. So that last meeting, last time you played the team, that
Mm.
being the most recent event you can recall,
Yeah.
I do think that that might have a bit of part to play in there.
You,
But yeah,
you
go
know
ahead.
what? That FA Cup though, gun like that FA Cup was epic because it was on its way to the treble, right? It was we got the double at that point, and I think Ten Hag was just trying to make life as difficult as possible. He didn't have the weaponry. I don't even think he has the faculty to out coach or outclass Pep. I don't think he has the tactics like that. But any club that chooses to play quote unquote negatively or play to prevent, it's gonna make it a difficult result. So I think he's gonna do the same thing. The difference is the difference is we had Holland, KDB, and then Gundogan with that tremendous volley with that opening goal. So they're going to bunker down. We're just going to have to be as diligent as always and look to just take our chances, man. Just take our chances, and just be aware of the counter. That's it. That's really it. Yo, Alec, my guy, see you in the comments. Much love. And clinical. Let me also do this because
Hmm.
clinical's been one of them. Martin's been the same. Pitch points, True City fan, and those of you in the comments. My rehab is going extremely well. All right. I haven't been as mobile as I usually am because of my quad injury, but I've been good. I've been really diligent. Clinical is a man very similar. I've been very aware of my diet because I'm not as mobile. I'm not consuming as many calories, so I'm trying to stay lean, stay fit like my man. And yeah, I'll be back soon. I'll be back soon. The content's coming soon.
Yeah, you're not talking about me there. I can tell you that.
But yeah, that's definitely very good to hear, man. And don't I would say don't rush yourself in. And I know you're probably pacing yourself
Mm,
to where you feel comfortable, but yeah, we know that when you're back, the city space will definitely
mm.
be welcoming you back.
No, don't say that. I want him on tomorrow night for the post match.
Well, after the post match, then
Mm.
it's
Yeah, true,
don't I would say don't force it.
true.
Um, but you did touch on the last time we went to OT, so I do wanna get your guys' thoughts about that particular game. That whatever jumps out to me first, looking back at that game, is that goal because that was really the turning point. We were up at 1-0 at that point in time, and then to concede a goal like that, which is an absolute joke if you ask me, and
Mm,
much like what how you were saying earlier, Vater, I'm still so upset about that. I hate losing against United in
hmm.
any way, and for it to be like that, it just gave me a sickening feeling. Um, I don't see how they could have messed that up. Like I really don't. As
It
they're
makes no
saying,
sense.
oh, maybe he didn't affect the play, even though he's actually like
Nonsense.
standing between Akanji and the ball and blocking
Yeah,
him off so he couldn't touch it. And
nonsense.
then because he didn't technically touch it, it goes into the goal.
He
We've seen
feigned to kick it.
seven,
He
like two
feigned
or
to
three
kick it.
times, two
He
or
went
three
to kick
times.
it.
It's crazy. I've tried to justify it in my head, like how did you come to this? But there's absolutely no way.
No, but
And
do you not think, to me, I'll be honest with you, I've got over it.
What?
And I got over it at the FA Cup final. Making them watch us get the double,
Mm,
lift that FA Cup in front of all those bucket hat wearing cockneys sat there, with a short hop home back to London because none of them know where Manchester is on a map. But no, in all honesty, I got over it because I sat there going, "I'm one of these. You can win the battle, but City will always win the war."
mm. Yeah, I mean, now that you kind of justify the fact that it took the FA Cup for you to get over it, I'm cool with that. And again, like that. that did calm me down. The fact that we got the double on the way to the trouble. Of course, I'm calm. There's nothing I can really complain about or be upset about. But when I do think back to that game, and sorry, I hope are you getting background noise? Are you guys good? Okay.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
Okay, it's all
What
good.
what I want to say though is, and I don't know if you remember this, Martin. I had to take my daughter. Funny enough, my daughter's actually going to a birthday party today. But a year ago, when we were playing at OT and we got the result, I had to take my daughter to a birthday party, and I was absolutely enraged the entire time. I think Martin's post match, like even before that, I went for a brief walk, but I was waiting in the car, and I was still angry, clinical. I was I was angry 90 minutes, almost 2 hours later after the match, and we were talking about it, and it's because it made absolutely no sense to me. And
Yeah, if you remember, Vale, you did a show 2 weeks later, and I wasn't over it.
yeah,
I
yeah,
was still fuming about it
yeah,
because it was. And listen, I have seen some dodgy decisions at the Swamp,
mm,
some absolute dodgy decisions at the Swamp.
yeah,
I have seen all sorts given.
mm,
I have seen 10 minutes added on when it should have been three. I was there for the Michael Owen, you know, 8 minute goal that shouldn't have even
yeah,
stood.
yeah,
You know, so I get it. I'm used to going to the Swamp. I'm used to going to Anfield and being screwed over. I
mm,
know there's two grounds where the referees influence heavily, and that's at Anfield and it's at the Swamp. I know that, and I expect that going in. But for me, it doesn't matter what happens. It's a derby, and I don't care if we're 20 points ahead of them. I'd still go in a derby, and I'm a little bit nervous.
yes,
I
of
still
course.
go in with that nerve,
Fair
that
enough.
everything, because
I
and
I get, I get
I
that. I
don't
get
know. The United fans I speak to at the minute, they looked at that Arsenal game and they're like, "Oh, you're wobbling."
that.
I'm like, "What?" They're like, they took so much sort of glory out of the Arsenal defeat that they think they are going to beat us tomorrow. And do you know what? They very may well do. But the way I've said it to all my friends this week is for them to beat us tomorrow, we are going to have to be below par, and they're going to have to play the best
Yeah,
they played all season.
yeah,
For us to beat them, we don't have to be at our best.
yeah,
That's the difference for me. They've got to be playing out of their skin. And I also think it's intriguing that they've got a game on Wednesday. We don't have a game this midweek.
right.
They've got a game midweek against Newcastle. So, and let's be honest, United aren't going to win the league. They're not probably going to get in the Champions League. So the League Cup's probably quite a priority for them at the moment.
Yeah.
Mm. Well, they're defending champs.
Behave.
What?
No, you're right.
Sorry,
You're actually
I'm
spot
only
on.
laughing because when I hear United say the defending League Cup champs, I'm like, and I love the League Cup, but I'm like, how the mighty has fallen.
Right.
Listen,
Well,
I was in the BBC on Thursday night,
Mm.
and one of the United fans said to me, "We beat you in the Community Shield," and I just stood there and went, "How the mighty have fallen."
Wow.
That you are gloating over that's something I expect from them in North London in red. I
Mm.
don't expect it from United in red. That a Community Shield over cities of it. Something to gloat about.
Crazy.
well,
Crazy.
I would say two things, and one of them is back on that that Bruno Fernandes goal with Rashford and all of that. I don't want to live on it for too long, but you know what was like just an extra backhanded slap in the face for me? The fact that we've had other decisions happen throughout that season, this season so far. They've sent several apologies and revisions and audio checks and all that stuff. And
Mm.
they just absolutely rob us like that and just move on like it's just another regular day. Nothing happened. It's so annoying. And then when one thing happens in 2 3 years like that Rodri at Everton incident,
Hmm.
one
Hmm.
one nil, and was it offside? Was it not offside? That was a call. whatever happened there. Oh, City always get the decisions, but oh my God, I hate it. I absolutely hate it.
Listen, I keep that on deck. If any rival wants to come about, City always gets the benefit of the call. I'm gonna bring up the OT Bruno and Rashford example every time. That's the trump card. That's you got nothing else to say because that was
No,
blatant. Go ahead.
exactly. And the difference is, City fans are humble. So like Everton last year with the Rodri and ball, we all stood up and we went, you know what, we got away with one.
Hmm.
You never hear that from United.
Mm,
Not one United fan said last season, you know what, we got away with that.
yeah,
Hmm.
This is what I'm saying is the difference. The United fans don't know how to be humble.
yeah,
Humble is not in their vocab. Arrogant, always in their vocab.
it's true.
So what I do want to ask you guys is, what are you expecting from City going into the game tomorrow? How do you expect us to approach it? Um, you could mention a couple players that you're expecting to see. Well, we'll get into the key players because I usually do have a section where I talk about players to watch coming into the game from both sides. So you guys can start thinking about that now. But in terms of setup and run of the game, what are you expecting from City? What are you guys expecting from United? Vater, we can go and start with you.
So I'll start with what I expect. I kind of talked about this. What I expect from United is the same old, same old. Like I think that they're going to be as defensive, compact as they can. Um, and I think they just look for they're going to look for their chances on set pieces and on counters or quick transitions, I should say. So I'm hoping that I'm expecting us to be up for it and not be sloppy with the ball. I think we're going to hold possession. We're not going to be loosey goosey with Ederson. Maybe giving some tricky passes to Rodri or even Walker being a little too playful with the ball. I think we're going to be sharp with our passing, and that's what I look for. The first 5 minutes of the game, I look to see how sharp we're moving that ball. The 1-2s, the just instinctful passing. If we're up like that, I'm like, ooh, we're on it. It's gonna be one of those games. So I'm expecting that from us. The 11 that Pep chooses, I'm gonna tell you this right now. I don't care if he chooses to bench Doku, if he chooses to bench Grealish, and when I say bench, I just mean not start them because I think
Yeah.
he's going to get every player into this game because it is a derby. I think he knows that every player is going to want to be a part of this. But whoever he chooses to start, I'm going to be calm with it. I'm going to be calm with it because I know here he's got his plan in place, and let those guys do their thing. If they happen to not be as sharp as he intends, or if they catch an early yellow or whatever, we got players he's going to sub on. And again, it's to play for the moment because a lot of these players, if we look at Nunez, we look at Kovacic, we look at Doku, they're new to our team, but the previous two, other than Doku, know what this derby's about. Like they know what United like is in this league, right? So I think whoever plays are going to be up for it. And then what I want is us to take our chances because we didn't do that against Wolves, and we've talked about this previously.
Mm.
Just take our chances and know that if we happen to lose possession, they're going to look to spray the ball over top or go to the wings and just be ready for it. Walker, be on your game, right? Gavardio, be on your game. Just be sharp and know that it's either going to be Anthony or Rashford that are going to try to come down at you and be up for it. That's really what I'm expecting. And then we'll talk about like down the road score predictions and all that kind of stuff. But I expect us to do what we do and them to be defensive like they've been doing the last 3 games.
Oh, fair enough. Fair enough. Martin, what are you thinking?
There's a rumour going around today Jack Grealish is starting tomorrow,
I'm cool with it.
Yeah.
which I'll be honest with you, I expected anyway. Because I think we saw the best Jack Grealish on Wednesday night against Young Boys. I think for the first time this season, we saw a injury-free, confidence-high Jack Grealish.
Mm.
You can tell previously Jack was coming back from that dead leg injury, which is sustained over in Japan, I believe. So it's took him a while. I would like to see a Doku and a Grealish because I did like that combo on Wednesday night.
Mm.
I know people go on about Doku being better on the left. Doku is actually a right winger. Fans forget that one. He was brought in as a Mahrez replacement, not as a
Mm.
Grealish replacement. He was brought in to replace Mahrez.
Majority of his career games have been at right wing. You're right.
Mm.
Exactly. And this is the other thing. He only played just over 1,000 minutes for Rennes last season, so he's still relatively a young lad who's quite new. To
Mhm.
me, I, I think I think we're still waiting on the Phil Foden niggle because there wasn't really anything said from Pep and his presser about that one, whether Foden was fit. I
Mm.
think Alvarez is going to be a difference maker tomorrow. Alvarez has been a absolutely revelation this season. The guy is, and listen, I put my hand up, prove me wrong, wholeheartedly prove me wrong.
What do you mean he proved you wrong?
You know me better. I'm still not 100% that he's a 10-10,
Yeah,
but
but
he can play that role. I didn't think he could play that role.
okay,
He's proved
gotcha,
me wrong, isn't it? He
gotcha.
can play that role now.
Mm.
No, he plays it in a different way to KDB.
Yeah, but this is the reason why I'm a little hesitant. And no, I mean I have all the confidence in Alvarez. Like Julian Alvarez, we are actually extremely lucky to have gotten him and Holland in the same year. Like this it's nuts. But the reason why I'm still waiting to see Pep, how are you gonna do your magic here? Like, how are you gonna find a way to get Alvarez, Foden, KDB, Holland, Silva, Doku, Grealish? Like,
Hmm.
how are you gonna do that?
That's a question for later.
I
And
know.
Vader,
Mm,
I asked this question to you last season. I ask this question on every stream I do. Nobody, nobody to this day ever gives me an answer. And I know why, because nobody wants to actually live up to the answer. Because to me, this is why Pep gets paid the money. Pep will have to make that decision when Kevin De Bruyne is back
right, right,
on
Hmm.
which one drops out. But
right,
right now, Alvarez is totally undroppable.
yeah.
And to me, I honestly think the 11's quite a straightforward 11 tomorrow.
Mm,
I actually do. I think the back four probably is the back four. I think Walker's in, Gavardio's in, Diaz, Stones, Rodra. Tomorrow's
the only
11 is
the only
probably the
reason,
most
but
predictable
Martin,
11 I can
I got
guess.
to cut you off. I got to cut you off. The only reason why that back four is simple to pick is because Akanji's out on a red.
True.
Yes.
That's one thing. And
Do you
that
think? I'm
Arsenal
not sure.
game, that if that Arsenal game didn't happen, or say Rodri played, Kovacic didn't,
Mm,
then he would definitely be in contention for that. A lot of people want to pull him out of that
mm,
consideration to start any big games because he was very poor against Arsenal.
mm.
So just
I don't
sometimes
want
small stuff like
Kovacic
that.
or Nunes in the midfield at the minute.
Okay, okay.
Fair, fair. But I do think right now he's going through a bit of a rough patch. I'm not gonna say he's not a quality player because
Hmm.
the moment KDB got injured and he stepped into the team, I
Yeah,
thought he was looking really good next to Rodri.
I
The
agree.
moment Rodri got his red card and he was playing next to Nunes or playing the six by himself, that is when performances kind of started to dip for him.
Yeah.
And in regards to the game we played against YB in Switzerland, um, I think that game was obviously better than the games that he had prior without Rodri as well. So that tells me that we can look forward towards better form from a player like Kovacic.
Mm.
In regards to what you were saying earlier, Vator, about how do we get all these players in, I'm looking at it like it's we do have to make that decision. And it's not really about getting all of them on the pitch because we do need to have that impact off the bench. I don't mind Doku not starting the odd game and we bring him for the impact to change things up and say maybe 70 minutes in the tactics make a slight shift, we go a bit more direct, or he starts, Grealish comes on after 65 70 minutes to slow the pace of the game down, put him in the eighth position, have him on the wing if that's where we think he'll be more effective. And we just basically have that option to roll the dice versus try to see how we can get everyone on the pitch at maximum efficiency. So the fact that we have all these players fit right now, which we couldn't say a couple weeks ago, I think it's definitely gonna work a lot in our favor. And Pep, I don't understand how Pep gets criticized for the exceptional job he does at rotating the quality players that we have in our team and seeing all of them get X amount of games or X amount of minutes by the end of each season
Mm,
at a respectable level. I don't I think that should be praised. Like a lot of
mhm.
managers can't manage or manage to have this many quality players in their team and use all of them efficiently and effectively and go on to win league titles. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I'm really not worried about our current situation, man. Squad wise, that is.
Squad wise, I agree. We got. I like that we have players that are still in development or players that need to kind of. We'll see how they work into our system. Nunez, he's new addition, year one. We know that what that is. Kovacic had a good stint, but also like to have that sustainability and to be sharp for the entire season. He's going to have those ups and downs. Um, and if the rumors are true, there's still an addition possibly coming through in Jan, right? So I think squad wise, we're good. Pep's got a good problem to have to deal with. The 11, whoever it happens to be, I think where it gets really interesting. And Martin's gonna have to answer this because he said the 11 kind of picks itself. I don't know what Pep decides to do in terms of the starting 11, but whatever he does, I'm confident that if changes need to be made, he's going to make it because this is you know what? Let me stop because I don't want to do the prediction. Martin, you got to give us how's the 11 so easy for you to pick?
Just obviously the Akanji red card,
Hmm.
100%. Um, to me, I think the back four picks itself.
Hmm.
The midfield is probably my only one I'm looking at. Is does he drop Doku to put Bernardo right? The Foden things like you know we don't know whether Foden's 100%.
Hmm.
When we know Foden is
So who's
100%.
in the middle? You're skirting around it. Who's in the middle?
For me tomorrow probably would be. Do you want me to say what as if Foden's fit?
Whatever. If Foden's fit, is he start?
Oh,
He's
if
starting
Foden's fit, then I'm going Foden, Alvarez, Rodra.
in the midfield. Okay. Okay. And so what? You're going Grealish, Holland, and
Grealish
Silva.
left, Haaland, and nope,
So
I'm going Doku.
we're benching Bernardo Silva.
Look at Vater's
Woo!
face. Vater's gone home, hadn't man.
Woo! Critical. That's big. That's big. Mm.
I really like the balance of it on Wednesday night.
Okay.
Okay. Well, what I will say is before we get into I do want to talk about those players to watch.
Hmm.
I do want to also look at some notable absentees from this game. Obviously, we don't really have we have a pretty much fit squad, but they pretty much cannot say the same if we're being honest. But
Mm.
in terms of recent results, I know we touched on it a bit already, but that Brighton game, I thought we started that really well. That first half was I'm just so glad Rodri's back in the team. That's pretty much all I can say,
Yeah.
man. Like,
It's like night and day.
um, you're right, exactly. I think in the second half it was a lot more tense. I think we were focusing more on controlling the game versus going and killing it off. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that, but it did give Brighton a bit of an opportunity to start getting back into the game. They got a goal back, and
Mhm.
we were then able to see out the rest of the game. Unfortunately, Akanji got his second yellow card. Very debatable, soft, but okay.
Mhm.
He's not available for this particular game. But that YB game, in my opinion, in terms of the whole construct of the total game, I thought we played well more consistently throughout that game.
Yeah.
And seeing that was the midweek game just ahead of this one, that gives me a bit of added confidence. We got to rest some key players like both of you guys mentioned. I think Kyle Walker rested and Rico Lewis played. John Stones didn't play. Foden didn't play. Who else got arrested in that game? I think Alvarez and Bernardo Silva both came off the bench.
Hmm.
So I think that was also pretty
Yeah.
good. No one's coming into this game off the back of niggles from those games. You look at Ake and Foden, who potentially might be.
Yeah.
Hopefully they're not. But um, recent results for us have been pretty kind
Hmm.
compared to the games before that one. And in regards to United, like me and Martin were speaking about earlier, they're off the back of 3 wins in our competition. So I think compared to where they were earlier in the season as well, this is a bit of a better period for them. So what do you guys think about the recent results of both teams? What are you saying, Martin?
Um, like I said earlier, I'm totally happy with our form and our results. I think the Brighton game was a really good overall game. I thought Brighton has generally been our toughest home game for the last probably 2 years. They were the best team to come to the Etihad last season,
Hmm.
hands down. Even though we won 3-1, thought it was a very flattering 3-1. And I think first half we were great. I thought it was stupid to have Milner where he was against Doku. That was really silly of De Zerbi. But young boys on Wednesday night, I thought we were sort of somewhere, not back to our best, because I don't think we've hit top form yet. But we're getting back to back wins now. If you go back to last season, when was it? How long did it take us to get 2 or 3 wins in a row? Last season, I think we were talking February, March time, and we're like, we've not had 2 or 3 wins on the bounce here, and we've done that quite comfortably. United are coming into form. I don't know why I'm expecting a really entertaining game tomorrow, and it's probably going to be the most dullest 0-0 draw you've ever seen. Now, I said this after Arsenal. I said I said before the Arsenal game, it was going to be fireworks, and it was like turn it off after 60 minutes. But I do. I'm expecting a real good game of football tomorrow.
Mm.
So yeah,
Well,
just
I'm expecting a good game as well. I'm expecting a good game because, again, the derbies, right? So there's gonna be the as much as you can go into the game in like confident. You've seen the form of them. You've seen their form. You've seen our form. Having the confidence, how we played in the league and Champions League. But then it becomes the derby and those nerves, like an hour before kickoff. You're just like, let's all be sharp. Let's all be ready, right? So I'm sure it's going to be a good game. I don't expect much to be. Honestly, I hope not much happens from an officiating standpoint. That would be terrible. Like 2 years in a row where it's like controversial. But always expect silliness and nonsense at Old Trafford. But I want I want this game to be just us doing what we did at the Etihad.
Hmm.
Like not so much from a score standpoint. We don't need to batter them six or whatever, right? But just how we like move the ball, how we show. Was it 2 years ago or 3 years? I think it was. It was the year that it was 2 years ago. I think when Liverpool had slapped them 5-0, and we went there and beat them 2-0. But they had no like they could do nothing against us. It was the most crippling, the most damaging 2-0 against them at their home. I think it was 2-0, if I'm remembering correctly. But that's what I want. I just want us to show our dominance, show that we're the superior talent, superior club. We're in form. Yes, it's a derby, but we're going to play to our level and just make them look like young boys against us. That's what I would really like to happen. But what's going to happen in a derby? Who knows, man? Who knows? That's why we do these previews.
In terms of what I want to see happen tomorrow, I
Mm.
want it to be a lot like when we played them. I think it was the last game we played with Ole as manager, and that was 2-0 over in their ground. It was
Yeah.
just after they had lost 5-0, I think
Yes.
2
We're
weeks
talking the same
before.
thing. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That
Yeah,
is
yeah.
what I want to us to go there and do. Do you guys remember how we scored those goals? I think both of them were in the first half and fairly early into the game.
Mm,
And then after that, it was just complete domination and possession. Maybe that's what we were trying to do against Brighton. And
mm, mm-hmm.
it wasn't as fluid, but I that's what I want to see us do in terms of controlling the game. That's the level of control I want us to get to and just nullify any potential chances that they might have. Because if you actually look at it, all of the United players on the field, they were just so deflated and
Yeah.
demotivated. They just knew they were getting played off the park, and there was absolutely nothing any of them could do about it.
Yeah.
So if we can get another game like that, I'll be very happy. I don't need a 5, 6, 7. I know Ethan's prediction is probably gonna be 8-0. I don't need that type of score. I'd love it, but that's
Now
what
you know what,
that's what I want
Politico.
tomorrow.
We
That's what I
can
want.
wait. We can wait for those scores against like a Sheffield United. Like we
Right.
can wait to get our goal differential up against those type of teams. We don't. We just need to beat United.
100%, 100%. But speaking of those notable absentees I mentioned earlier,
Mm,
for us, we do have KDB still out, as we all know. Akanji will miss the game due to suspension, and he'll be back for Bournemouth. Foden and Ake, I think Pep mentioned that he has both of them have niggles
mm.
after the Young Boys game, or for Foden might be the game before. But I'm assuming that we'll get. I think Pep might have done his press conference today. I haven't seen it though, so I'm not sure if he already addressed those guys' fitness.
Okay.
But um, that's what I'm looking at in terms of other players who may or may not be 100%, may start on the bench or something like that. And for United, they're coming into the game without Lisandro Martinez, Malacia, Amad Diallo, Wan Bissaka, Luke Shaw, and Sancho, as well as Casemiro is a bit of a doubt. He might be fit for the game. I
Yeah,
know that
I'd
he was
expect
on the
Captain.
bench. I expect him to play, but he was on the bench in their game last weekend. In their Champions League
Yeah,
game, I
Champions League.
believe he
Yeah.
was suspended, but he was actually out of the game before that as a precaution. So, yeah, I do expect after what a week and a half's rest, he'll probably be coming back into the team for them.
Hmm.
But in regards to players to watch, who do you guys think from a City perspective are? I usually give 3 players myself. You guys can give 1, 2, or 3 if you want, but who are some of the players from our perspective you think will need to be at their best for us to go and execute how we'd want to?
Like which city players need to be
Yeah.
up for it? Okay. Martin, you want to go first?
What? So we're doing the City players United should be fearful of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Haaland, Foden if he's fit, and Doku if he plays.
Mm,
'Cause I think Doku is something that we have lacked in the last couple of years, and it's something United fullbacks aren't used to. Is just being pure, being run at.
mm, mm.
Yes, I can
And
do that.
I also like the idea of because if he plays Rashford on the left and we've got Doku on the right, will that stop Rashford doing his bombing up?
I don't think so. That's his only
That's what I
outlet.
mean.
Yeah.
You can you can kill 2 birds with 1 stone with that.
Yeah. I don't. I
The
don't
only thing,
expect Rashford to do much
yeah,
help defensively. I think it's going to be Rashford's going to be the one bombing forward as much as he can. Bruno's going to be looking for him. But I'll add a few other names. I think, and again, Clinical said this earlier. When Rodri came back playing in the league, it was just like a sense of relief, like a sigh, like an exhale, because it's like, oh, we missed you, Rodri. The way he takes control, the way he moves the ball, and there's also like a level of there's like a level of pace to the game that he now has. Like he knows how much time he has on the ball. There's no rush in his game, which I really admire and like to see now. So I think he's going to be key because I don't know if they can commit one player in their midfield to really disrupt them. the way they used to have Fred kind of chase KDB all over the pitch, I don't think they can devote someone to do that to Roger because of where he's going to occupy on that pitch. So I'm excited to see what he does. And then this is going to seem a little bit out of left field or whatever, to use a North American term, but it's going to be the Ederson and Onana show. I think. I think there's going to be the spraying of keeper passes either to spring things forward or to alleviate like the press. And I'm going to be excited to see the two of them because there's going to be I think there's going to be a funny, unique keeper duel happening tomorrow.
Ooh, well, with Anana and Edison.
Yeah, with Anana and Ederson, because their skill set as stoppers, obviously it's there, but like exceptional with their feet. And
Right.
I think they're going to be asked to, especially on the United side, I think he's going to be asked to get some of those balls forward to maybe release an Anthony or Rashford, and then for us, if they're going to choose to maybe press us or even for us build up getting the ball maybe centrally, Ederson's going to be he's going to be doing some magic. So I'm going to be excited. I'm going to be yelling at the TV when I see Ederson put a put a ball on a
Just got
dive.
visions of
Yeah.
Vader now. Visions of Vader screaming at the TV.
I'm gonna be screaming with my son and daughter. We're gonna be it's gonna be nice.
Well, for
Can I
me,
ask? Can I ask a quick? Sorry, I was going to ask a quick
go ahead.
question.
Go ahead.
If we're playing Doku on the right, and maybe it's just me who's saying that, would you play Walker? And the reason I ask that is Walker didn't play right back on Wednesday night, and I've always had this thing of can you play Doku and Walker on the same side? Because I think if you do that, you would have to have Walker being very disciplined to sort of stay just to be a right back, which hasn't been Walker's game all season. Tends to be Walker's
I think we
been
could.
used a lot as our right winger.
Let, let, I think we could if it's Walker, Stones, Diaz, and Gavarlio. I think Stones occupies that central pivot next to Roger or whatever, and I think Walker is the discipline to stay back because I was really surprised to see how forward Stones was the other day. Like
Yeah,
he was very aggressive and he was playing in pockets where you're like, this is new, this is different. So if that's the back four and Stones has the liberty to be in that kind of like free roamings, have those instructions, I think him and Doku could work really well. And the fact that Doku could be so committed forward and Walker could deal with any type of attack
yeah.
if he remains back would actually be pretty sweet. So I'd like to see it.
Big up to Ali Lolo in the chat. I
Mm.
think that's a first time commenter there, so I do appreciate you being here. For me, the players who I was looking at from our perspective as like genuine players to watch who could cause them a lot of trouble, obviously Julian Alvarez is one of them. One of the first names I have to throw in there. I think the position that he's playing right now, I still firmly maintain this guy is a number 9. He's a striker. I don't
Mm.
think he's a midfielder,
No.
but
Yeah,
I'm happy that we're no longer trying to force him to be a KDB and we're having him play in that um, high
Yeah.
number 10
Yeah.
second striker role in a different way than what KDB would usually be doing. Alvarez, even up to now, his passing ability isn't what he's really in the team for.
No, but
So
he's
I
trying
don't.
it some more. I noticed
Right, and I see him
yeah.
improving, which
Hmm.
I like it,
Yeah.
but I
But you
don't
know it's not
want
his
him to
strength.
be the main
Yeah.
creator in the
I
team
know what you
and
mean.
trying to find KDB-esque passes
Yeah.
all game because it's not his strongest suit. And
Yeah.
if it's a game where it's not coming off for him, that can really tank his confidence and he can go on and have a poor game as a result. So I like how we're using him now. He's playing close to Haaland, but everyone is still they you have to prepare for Erling Haaland coming into the team. He's
Mm.
still arguably the best striker in the world at the moment.
Yeah.
So whatever defensive setup you have to accommodate a lot for dealing with Erling Haaland because if he's on his game, chances are we're coming out with 3 points. And
Mm.
Alvarez playing in the pockets of space that Haaland leaves and linking up with him and synchronizing their movements. I think where he is right now in the squad positionally, I think he's being very effective and he's had a brilliant start to the season. Just
Yeah.
like Martin said, he's absolutely undroppable. I would definitely definitely start him tomorrow and all the big games coming up in the near future. But Julian Alvarez is the first player that I definitely had to mention. Doku is another one. I don't think they have a player in their squad who can handle him. Not that most teams could say that they do.
Mm,
Um, if we have two or three players on Haaland and then two or three on Doku and have Jack on the other side on a 1v1, can you just imagine? Can you just imagine how much we'd be cooking? So and I think if he does play on the right, because like Martin said, I do expect to us to go back to that Grealish on the left, Doku on the right, because I was a big fan of that against YB as well. But if he does play on the right, he'd be coming up against Regulon, who's just recently coming back from injury, and he's not a player who's really known for his defensive acumen as well.
mm,
He's more known for what he delivers further up the pitch. So Doku coming up against him, that could be a very key matchup where we get a lot of change from that. And the third player who I definitely have to look at, I think he's had a steady start to the season. I was a bit impressed, but I could tell he was being a bit reserved and slowly building into the team and integrating himself. Josko Gvardiol. Right now, I think he's at a point where he's definitely getting his role in the team, what Pep is asking from him, and how to play alongside the players around him. And off that left hand side, I think he's been absolutely amazing these past couple of games. I don't know how much under the radar it's running, but I'm really impressed with what I'm seeing from Gvardiol. I hope these performances continue. And yeah, I'm looking at him as one of those players wanting to lay a gauntlet down in his first ever Manchester Derby,
mm.
coming out with a monster performance in that back four. Come on, man. I think it's gonna be absolutely exceptional. Um, Let me see. I think Martin, are you back?
Yeah, about sorry, my connection dropped.
Mm.
Yep, no problem, no problem. I did want to head over to you first to see like what if United were to get a result out of this game, who are some of the players who you think like would have to have a good game for that to happen? I have a couple of players to name. If you guys want me to go first, I definitely can. Vater, if you want to hop in, you can
So
definitely
players
go ahead.
players to worry about for United, right?
Yeah.
No, that's easy for me. I mean, despite the season that he's having now, like Rashford, again, he was playing for that contract extension. He's trying to re up. He was phenomenal last season. I think in terms of weapons that United have, he's that guy, and he's got the quality. I'm not going to disrespect him. He's got quality. So if they can get him where he can be 1v1, if they can get him where he's running into space, I think we need to worry about him.
Mm,
I think I think whether it's confidence, whether it's lack of self awareness, but Bruno Fernandez will spray a pass. Like he will put pressure on our midfield or on our defense to have to react, right? So he'll get the ball. I think he'll quickly look up whether he passes it with accuracy or not, but he's going to release that ball onto Anthony and Rashford, and I think we need to be ready for that. Um, and then and it's the same thing. Like those are the main two. I don't know if Mason's gonna be a problem.
What about Maguire? The man's in form.
The man's informed to do what against who?
I'm being facetious. Sorry, I had
No,
to
I
throw
know.
it
And
in.
I'm adding. I'm
All I've
adding.
heard all week is Maguire's back.
Yeah, and a lot of it's from him and his own camp. You're on mute, clinical. We don't hear you.
what I will say about that, and I have to admit, it is a bit tongue in cheek. Maguire is one of those players I have in my list for United players because
Uh,
remember what I said. Players that need to have a good game if they're going to get something out of it. He's gonna need to because
yeah,
he is playing. Let's get that right.
yeah, yeah,
He
yeah.
is playing
You're right.
because he scored the winner in their midweek game, right?
Yeah.
Kept a clean sheet, and apparently he was their best performer in the game before that against was that Brentford, I believe it might have been.
Oh, Copenhagen.
Copenhagen.
No, the
The
one
Champions League.
the Premier League game.
Was
Oh,
it?
the one in the yeah,
Yeah, he
Brentford. Yeah.
scored against Copenhagen, and
Mm.
then in that Brentford game, apparently he was really good as well. So he is playing, especially since they have a bunch
Clinical.
of injuries in that position.
He's up
And
against Haaland.
I agree. He
but
does.
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Like, so
yeah.
they're
He does
gonna
need to have a
need
good game.
him.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
They're gonna
I got
need him to have a good game.
right.
Will
Yeah,
he? I
yeah,
don't
yeah,
know,
no,
but
yeah,
he's definitely gonna have to put his best foot forward if
How
they're
you
gonna have
explained it? How
anything
you
to come out of this game with. That's what
how
I'm
you
looking at.
explained
but
it makes sense.
Vega's not having it. Vega's not having
No,
it at all.
no.
Look, he's not having it.
It makes sense. It makes sense. He needs to have a good game if
Yeah.
United are to cause problems for us.
But
And
in
again,
terms of players who I do think can cause us problems or
mm,
have the best chances of causing us problems, obviously we have to talk about Marcus Rashford. I do
mm,
echo
Yeah,
a lot of the thoughts that you had, Vater. For me, he's most of the time I see him, I see him as a moments player. Like he's that guy who he can be stinking out the game and he's just not clicking for him. But you get that one pass to him and he's running into space and you just hate it because he's probably going to convert that one
yeah,
chance that he gets, or is the most likely player of the rest of the United squad to convert that one chance. So he's always gonna be a danger player coming up against us. Obviously, academy player, coming up through the ranks at United. So the derby does you expect the derby means a lot to him personally as well. I also identified Hoyland because as much
yeah,
as these players want to pretend like they don't want to buy into the comparisons, I'm sure he's seen the Haaland comparisons with himself.
yeah.
And he's gonna feel that pressure, whether consciously or subconsciously, that you know what, I'm coming up against him head to head right now. I'm the man here now for my team. They're looking at me to score the goals, and this the top goal scorer of last season is my opponent. Who they're always comparing me to. I need to go out and perform. I think he's going to try his best to give Ruben Diaz and John Stones as difficult a game as possible, whether that means making it very, very physical
Mm,
or whatever else he needs to do,
yeah.
to give us a tough time. So that's what I'm expecting, from them in terms of organization. Bruno
I've got to say,
Fernandez.
clinical.
Mhm. Wait.
Sorry,
Before you
just
go,
to
Martin, I do want to
yeah.
add one last player in there, and it's Ericsson because I do think he goes under the radar a lot for United in terms of the large construct of the game. Maybe not much in terms of volume of contributions, but for a player like Rashford who needs just that one moment, he's one of the better passes. I think better than Bruno Fernandez in their team. So he could be the one to play that one killer ball that they need to get that key goal in the game. So I do want to make a special mention for him. Go ahead, Martin.
See, I just sorry. I just wanted to piggyback on your Highland thing because I've
Mm.
got to say, as much as we all know, he's basically Erling Haaland from Wish. But to be totally honest, he does look. I can just imagine him after a year or two in the Premier League of being quite a decent striker
Yeah, yeah,
because he's very good at holding the ball up, and I can see that being a really really interesting battle. Whether it's because I'm presuming it's Diaz because Stones is going to be more. I think we're all expecting Stones will push up further tomorrow.
Give me a second.
So hey, it's like having Rich on. Vader knows what I mean with that. But
yeah.
you know what I mean, don't you, Vader? Stones is the one who's going to push.
Hmm.
So I'm imagining Diaz is the one who's going to deal with Hoyland more.
Yeah,
So I
yeah.
expect that to be a very tasty battle tomorrow. Rashford, we know. Listen, if there's one player I could have out of the United team, it would be Rashford because I think Pep Guardiola would do wonders with him.
Yeah, yeah.
Absolute wonders with Rashford. I think Rashford at United is so. My issue with Rashford at United is they look at him to play like the 60 games and he is their main outlet. He's everything about United. And I think he's had that for too much for too long. He's not been allowed to flourish as a player, to grow as a player.
Hmm.
To me, he's had too much pressure on him, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
He's not been allowed
Well,
to
that's the problem with United,
develop.
though. They always try to put all of their hopes on either a new incoming player, like they kind of did with Casemiro last season. Like there's always a big signing that they kind of put all their hopes on. Rashford was in phenomenal form, and again, I'm saying this because I've seen the reality. Like players will raise their level when they're trying to get that contract, when they're trying to show I deserve this. Whether he's able to even match what he did last year, we'll have to wait and see. But I don't deny the talent because he's been very consistent in previous years. And Rashford, he has He can shoot with either foot. He has the pace. He has the strength. He can cause us problems in the right situation. So, we got to worry about him. We got to worry about him. I Casemiro tends to get a lot of non-calls, so he'll be problematic that way. Um, and
I
you
don't
don't,
expect Casemiro to play.
you don't expect him to play.
Nope.
That's going to be a huge miss for them. That's going to be a huge miss if he's
Do you
not
not
playing.
think they've been better without him?
No, they've squeaked out these wins. Like they haven't looked impressive. Like I know they're getting the results, and obviously at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. But
Yeah.
no, I don't think they've looked better with him, or sorry, they've looked better without him. I think they've just squeaked out and lucked out some wins, some results.
See, to me, it's going to be. I think the midfield battle tomorrow could be very lopsided.
Mm,
If they go with Amrabat and Ericsson, because I totally get what Clinical's saying. Ericsson is like literally the guy who can unlock everything for them. I don't expect Ericsson to play because even though I did say earlier I would like it to be, a really good game of football, I don't expect Eric Ten Hag to go there and probably play open football. I'm expecting him to be very conservative because he knows 1000% we're going to have 90% of the ball.
hmm
He knows we're going to have the ball. So if you play Ericsson, Casemiro, and all them, they become a little bit null and void because they need the football at the feet, and they're not going to get that tomorrow.
mm. Yeah,
So that's why Mason Mount doesn't scare me at all. Sorry, Mason Mount. Whoever decided to pay 70 million quid for him needs to go to Specsavers and have their eyes tested.
I
Sorry,
hope
that's
he
just a joke.
plays. I pray that he plays. You know how many times I had to be fighting tooth and nail to defend Phil Foden against Mason Mount in those
Yeah,
debates,
that.
and finally I can just sit back because
Sorry.
people are seeing
Who
the
made
difference
that
in class.
comparison?
Gareth Southgate, because he was playing Mount over
Oh,
Foden, so that's probably where it started from. But
the only thing Mason Mount should be compared to for Foden is washing his boots. It's about the only thing he's good at doing.
But that's why I'd ask you guys earlier, like, how are you guys expecting us to set up versus how you're expecting them to set up? If we saw how they played against Arsenal when they went to the Emirates, I think that's probably how they're gonna be coming against us. I'm sure you guys might agree with that.
Mhm.
I doubt that they'll try to come and play football with us. I think the game at OT last season, we didn't have our best first half. Like we said, it was a lot more even than it probably should have been based on just the quality of the teams that were out on the day.
Mhm.
And hopefully that's not reflected in the game again tomorrow. We have a pretty good squad coming in now. Their injury hit. They're pretty much low on confidence because even though they have been winning games, it's not been convincing.
Mm.
Big parts of their fan base are still very skeptical results wise. They're very split on the manager right now, and stuff behind the scenes like with Sancho, that's still going on. Their takeover situation. They don't need a Manchester derby right now, pretty
Right.
much,
Yeah, I
to
agree.
add on top of that.
I agree.
So I think right now it's a really good opportunity for us to go and make that win number 54 for us in the all time standings of the Manchester Derby. And
Oh, liking it. Go on, Clinical.
so in terms of score predictions, just before we wrap up, what are you guys thinking?
Go on, mate. I'll let you go
Score
first.
predictions. Okay. They they aren't in the form that we're in. I'm still upset. I hope the players are still upset from last year's Old Trafford result. We've been seeing a lot on the timelines, especially anniversary, reminiscing on the 6-1 that we did to them. And obviously, you know, paying homage to Bellatelli and Why Always Me shows, like that was an epic, incredible moment. I want us to I don't need us to destroy them with the score. I want us to destroy them with the performance. So if we avenge tomorrow with like a 2-3 nil, I would hate to leak a goal against them, but if we leak a goal and we still win, I'm actually calm with it's it's going to sound cheesy. It's going to sound you're sitting on the fence, whatever. But it's the performance that I really want to see dominance from. Like I want to see everybody up for it and not even like limiting, not even giving them a sniff at the ball. That's the type of game that I want. And hey, I'm gonna give a prediction when I see the lineup. I'm gonna give a
You can't
prediction.
do that.
No, I'm gonna
Do
give a
not
score.
do that.
I'm saying we're winning. I'm saying we're winning, but I'll give a score prediction when I see their lineup and our lineup because then
Same.
I'll know where we're gonna attack and where we're gonna get the goals from. But listen, we're beating them at Old Trafford. We are beating them at Old Trafford. And clinical, I want the reason why I can't really give a score is because I just want a beat down.
Yep.
Like,
No, I get it.
you know what I mean?
I get it.
So yeah, that's
I'm actually going 3-1, 3 or 4-1,
okay.
because
I,
I can see us getting. If we score in the first 15 minutes of this game, that's curtains for them. Because I think the first 10 or 15 minutes, what we can't do, because obviously the beginning of the game is going to be all about Sir Bobby Charlton, which it should be. By the way, there's 2 Manchester legends I've got in the past 2 weeks, Francis
Yeah,
Lee and Sir Bobby Charlton.
yeah.
And I just feel like if we can get through that first 10 minutes of emotion, because I think United will run on the emotion for the first 10, 15 minutes. Let's do it for Bobby.
Yeah.
And it'll be all emotional and they'll love it. If we can quieten down that crowd, get that first goal, I think United will go into the shells very, very quickly. And if we get that opening goal in the first 15 minutes, I think it's a long afternoon for United. I don't think any referee or any linesman or any VAR will help them if we do that.
I need that. I need that. Oh, imagine a 12-second goal from Alvarez and a volley, or I want an early goal. I'm not gonna lie. If it's
Do you know
within
what I want?
that 10, 15 minutes, yeah, that'd be it.
I
you know
Absolutely.
want
what?
Ireland to sit Maguire on his ass in the first 5 minutes and put the ball in the net.
I want him to do that to Varane because I don't want to hear afterwards, oh, it was Maguire, so what did you expect?
Mm,
What we also can do, because I did forget to mention this, goal scorer. And if you're gonna say Haaland, give me someone else because Haaland, he's him. So we're not surprised when Haaland gets a goal. I'm not gonna say we expect him to score every game, but
yeah.
who are you guys thinking are our best chances of getting a goal? Who you think is most likely to get on the score sheet?
Damn.
Oh,
See
and
this
before you guys go, my prediction was 3-0, by the way. I think we're getting a clean sheet over there.
clean
Just
sheet.
like
Oh,
we did in that season. Just 1 goal more than that 2-0 win, but
Okay.
in that same fashion.
Okay.
go on,
What's
clinical. Loving it.
what's the score at halftime? Are we
Oh,
stressed?
bloody
Are we
hell,
stressed?
mate. It was to
No,
score in
no,
the
no.
first 10
No,
minutes.
no, no, no. But the reason why I asked, because
All right.
you know how there's meltdowns at halftime when it's like,
Yeah.
0-0 or even 1-0. Like, what are you kind of
I'm
feeling?
hoping for like a 2-0 first half
Okay.
and have the fans in this, like the United fans in the stadium, know mentally
Mm,
that this game is done. I want
yeah.
some of them to be leaving. I want the
Yes.
rest to be there complaining like, when
Yes.
are we gonna get back into the game? I'm not really sure. I don't know. And then start off the second half and I want to see the ball go boop 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 boop. And then I want to score again within the next 15
Okay.
minutes of the second half and then just know
Man with a
from there,
vision. Man with a
yes,
vision. I see
game
it.
is
I
done.
know what you two want. You want it's only 5-1. It's only 5-1.
Oh, I want another.
50,000
It
empty
should have been
seats.
10.
It's only 5-1.
Oh, that would be amazing. That would be
Another.
amazing.
No,
It should have been 10. That's what I need.
I'm
Mm,
going for a Haaland double
Hmm.
okay.
and a Julian Alvarez precise. Because I'll tell you what, one thing I've noticed about Alvarez, when Alvarez has that ball, I don't care if he's in the corner 40 yards away. He's at the weirdest angle possible. I
Yeah.
just feel like the ball's going in the net.
Yeah. He's like Aguero in that regard. Like
I was just about
impossible
to
angles.
say. I was just about to say, Vater.
Mm,
It's very reminiscent of Aguero because you know what? Aguero used to get into some positions where I'm thinking, I didn't even think he was gonna shoot
Yeah,
this from here, and it's just going in the goal. It's like he hits the ball, and the ball is like, you know what? I'm in. I'm working with it.
yeah,
I'm just
and it
going.
doesn't
So
matter left foot or right foot. It didn't matter. Like
right,
crazy
and
angles.
I think back to that. I saw that goal he scored against Newcastle again, and I was
Mm,
just looking at it like, wow, this guy is quality.
yeah.
So for me, I'm thinking Haaland, Alvarez, Doku. That's my three goal
Woo,
scorers, preferably. I want to.
woo.
I want
Yeah.
violence, not peace,
No, I'm with you.
this
I'm with
weekend.
you. Like I said, I got to see the lineup, but I'm caught in so many minds because I want this beat down on them so
Mm.
bad. I kind of want every player to get a chance to run to the corner flag and celebrate. I want Holland to be able to do it. I want Foden to be able to do it. I want Doku. I want Alvarez. I even like at the same time when we think about how control might happen, and I love the pocket of space that Rodri's been occupying. Listen, I'm not trying to say that he's taking these outside shots
Mhm.
like Yaya, because Yaya was different. No knee lift, nothing. He would just the scoot of the ball and it would like fly top shelf. But the
Yeah, and then Yaya need to sit down for 20 minutes in the corner.
well, yeah, because he'd have to celebrate and take his time with it. But
Oh, because he's knackered.
stop it. But what I'm gonna say is there's like there's so many players that can get onto that score sheet where
Yeah.
all those names you mentioned, I could easily see them getting in there, and then it's just that beatdown. Could we see a level of control because, like Martin mentioned, we don't play until a week later, and we play Bournemouth a week later. Could we see Pep look at the 75th minute, bring on another body, attack minded? Could we see him do that 5 minutes later, bring on another body? Like, could we see Oscar Bob? Could we see Rico on there just for more goals? Like,
Oh, I love that. Imagine it.
oh,
Oscar Bob. Calvin Phillips coming on with 20
That,
minutes to go. That'd really take the piss.
that's where it would get to.
hey,
That's the so.
Phillips
Let me slow
comes
down.
on and scores.
Mm.
God,
Calvin Phillips comes on and bangs one from 30 yards, top bins past an Arno.
I need, I need. But I didn't give you guys my lineup or reacted to Martin's. I
Mm.
do I
Mm.
do think you guys were speaking about that a bit. I was taking a look at the comments at the time, but my lineup was very similar to Martin's, but I think Vater. I want to hear your thoughts on it because you mentioned a player that I want to talk about. But obviously, Ederson in net, Walker, Diaz, Stones, and Vardial, Rodri at the base of the midfield, and my eights are or my more
Mhm.
advanced midfielders are Bernardo and Alvarez, while
Mhm.
my front line is Grealish, Haaland, Doku. So we do still
Ooh.
have Foden potentially coming off the bench as well as another strong option that really could start the game as well.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
who was it that you had mentioned in the midfield over Bernardo Martin?
Um, Foden. Because
Foden
the
to
more I'm
start.
thinking about it, I'm thinking Doku might be a weapon with 20 minutes to go.
Mhm. Let again. I don't want to give an 11 because whatever Pep decides, I'm going to be calm with. I'm honestly going to be calm with, but because I could easily see Doku starting, not starting. I'm hesitant not to see. I'm hesitant for Foden to be benched though. It's just because I don't know if that level of control is needed against United. I could be. I don't know. I could
Mm.
be wrong, but I could see. I could see Doku being rested, Foden more centrally, and Bernardo out on that
On
wing.
the right. Yeah,
You know what I
that,
mean?
that definitely could happen.
And then when Pep does his subs, because he's easily pulled Bernardo from right wing and made him centrally, and could sub off Foden and then bring Doku on to go play right wing. Like he could do all that. So man,
I'm just a bit skeptical in general when it comes to like playing players when on a knockout with niggles and stuff like
yeah,
that. I was a bit disappointed to see KDB in the starting lineup for Burnley. Not because I didn't want him to be back, but I was thinking
I was
even
surprised.
if he
Yeah.
is back now, like I'd feel much safer
Yeah.
giving him 10 minutes or 20 minutes at the end of the game, because
Yeah.
throughout the whole preseason he only played 10 minutes of the Community Shield.
Hmm.
So he's coming into this cold and off the back of a long injury. I don't want to see him start. And then lo
Yeah.
and behold, he comes off injured and
To be
he's out
fair
for
on that,
another 4 months.
Clinical, KDB chose not to have the op.
Right, right. But
Mm.
and this is a different situation as well in
Yeah,
regards to Phil Foden. He doesn't have a long injury or anything. It's just niggles that may or may not need just a couple of days for him to recover from, or a bit of extra rest. But if there's a potential that him going into the game or starting the game could aggravate that further, I don't
Yeah.
mind
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
bringing
I'm
him
with you.
on for the last 30 is what I'm trying to say. And
yeah,
for
yeah,
me as an athlete, a lot of the times, I'm gonna be honest, my coach would ask me, "How are you feeling? Are you good to play?" And I'm feeling terrible. I have a groin injury, or my hamstring is still hurting, but I want to play. So I'm saying I'm good. I'm fully
Yeah.
recovered. I'm back, and I'm gonna just do my best to not aggravate it even further. Now, just imagine Phil Foden coming up through our ranks, or Diamond. He's going to want to play
Yeah.
this game
Yeah.
1,000%. So that's really what I'm thinking about
yeah.
there. I
No,
just
I
want to.
agree with that. Especially when you look at the fixtures we've got coming up in the next sort of 4 or 5 weeks, even after the internationals. I think we've got, other than Bournemouth, and I don't mean any disrespect to them, but it's at home. You, you, I know you're laughing because as soon as someone says I don't mean any disrespect, you might disrespect.
Yeah. Of course.
But we should be beating Bournemouth at home. You've got Tottenham, Chelsea, Liverpool all coming up.
Yeah.
You are going to need. So I do get your thinking there, Clinical. Do you take the chance for Foden if he's 80% fit? When let's be honest, this is a rarity coming up. Having a week off now is a massive
Yeah.
rare thing. And it's something we need to take that advantage of because probably after the international break, don't think we've got another week's rest for a while.
Mm.
And then you're coming up into that Christmas period where you're playing literally sometimes every 2 days.
Mm.
Yeah.
So, and our squad's too thin as it is to take gambles. It
Yeah.
really is thin. We've got what, a 20-man squad, and then you're looking at Phillips going out in January, take you down to a 19-man squad.
Right.
Mm.
So yeah, no, but thinking about that clinical, it's spot on. I wouldn't gamble anyone even at 75, 80% fitness.
Yeah, that's really where that line of thought was coming from. Um, yeah, but that's pretty much all we had planned for today, guys. I really do appreciate all of you coming out. I think we went up to 10 concurrent viewers at the highest, and right now we're at 8. Do appreciate every single one of you guys. Thanks for all the comments, the likes. We passed the like goal as well for today. Um, I doubt any of you guys are not familiar with these two legends and their channels, but if not, both of the links are in the description. Do show them some support. And if you aren't, and this is you now being introduced to them, tell them Clinical sent you. And you guys have anything coming up in the near future as well? Show you Martin, you mentioned you have a show tomorrow, right? Are you guys working on
Yes.
anything today, or is that what's next up?
No, I've got a post match tomorrow, around about 9 p.m. Post match for the Derby. Once the Australia lads wake up, we'll be on from 9 p.m. tomorrow. And then we've got some interesting midweek. I've got some of that came up during the BBC thing. If anyone hasn't heard that, by the way, sorry, quick plug. I do
Mm.
apologise, Clinical.
No, all
Go
good.
on the BBC website, BBC Radio Manchester. I was on Total Sport with Kipax Blue, Gaz, um, Drinkwater. There was some big blues, some big reds on there. Hollyoaks actor Anthony Wilkinson and somebody else. Really good show. We had some really good banter on there. But something came into that. There was a debate about Sir Alex or Pep, and
Mm,
it just gave me an idea. Well, we've got no games midweek. I thought I'd do a little debate show about
Mm.
who is better.
that
Is it
would
Sir
be great.
Alex or is it Pep Guardiola?
Entire career or their
Yeah,
contribution in the Prem?
entire career. Because there was a
Oh yeah.
lot of people saying that Pep hasn't been at City long enough to be near Sir Alex, and I totally disagree with that.
And that's a debate
That's
I've
a
been
good debate.
having with my friends a lot over the past month as well. So I think that's gonna be a cracking debate show. I
All
can't
right.
lie. It'll
All
be
right.
great points from both sides. Trust me. So a lot of it will come down to opinion, but having the actual debate, I'm sure it's gonna be amazing.
Mm.
Um, Vater, I know I'm not sure if you have a schedule set up as yet, seeing that you're now coming back.
Yeah,
But is there anything you have coming up in the near future?
I'm trying. If there's a time to come back, it should be after the Manchester derby, right? So,
Mm,
my rehab's been going well. I'm kind of getting more consistent in terms of the days that I'm able to be off, to be off and manage between work. So I don't want to commit and fall short, but
right.
I think the energy tomorrow is going to be a little too much. I'm going to do my best to actually jump on Mancunian Ways channel and be a part of that. So maybe I might tease a show. I might tease a show beforehand. I might tease a show beforehand
Oh,
and do something maybe for like a quick 30-40 minutes. So yeah, look out for Vader Games TV. If you haven't already, please subscribe. Yeah, I'm flirting with the show real quick. So we'll do that, and then moving forward, I want to do Why Always Me once a week, and I want to do CIA Intelligent Agendas once a week as well, preferably on Sundays. I got to get back into it. I'm actually sitting comfortably now. Like normally, my leg would
Mm,
be a little painful, being seated for like an hour or whatever. But I'm getting in a good space. So look out for Vader Games TV, and you'll catch the shows when they come, man. But I appreciate you having me on. Talking football with you guys is always fun, man. So
1,000%.
mm,
And I do love to hear it, man. Love to hear your recovery is
big
going
thing
well.
is, mate, I want everyone to share Clinical Show and Beta Show around because
mm,
these guys,
And
Beta should be in a
Martin's
thousand.
show as well.
No, I know, mate, but
Yeah,
for me, it's about pushing you two more. I want Clinical, Jamaican Blue, and Veta. Get Veta and Clinical to a thousand. They are absolute superstars. We
appreciate it.
shouldn't do any of this gatekeeping crap. All blues are blues. Look after each other. So I don't care if you've got 10 subs or whether you've got 80,000. Support each other.
Respect.
1,000%. And I do hate to rush through. I didn't get to go through all the comments today because I do have to run really quickly. I do have another show in an hour 15, and I
Mm,
do have to run a quick errand and get back before that. And before I leave, for the rest of you guys here, I think we have 8 viewing right now. I do have I'm working on something for you guys, a special surprise. I
oh,
can't promise it, but I'm trying because he's a very busy guy. I'm trying to get Big Steve back on for a
hey.
review on Monday. It would be I think the time I was looking at is 11 a.m. UK time, which is gonna be crazy early for me. I'm gonna have to run that stream and then get ready and leave for
Mm,
work the same
yikes.
morning.
Yeah.
But this is what I do for my people. I'm trying to get you guys the best content possible. So I'm working on it. No promises. Um, I'm still in communication with Steve about making it happen, but I
That's
will keep
big.
you guys updated through the community tab, and you guys definitely will hopefully see both of these legends back here again in the future. They know they're always welcome, 1,000%, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Take care, guys.
Bless.